Good morning everyone. I am Bhamidi Venkat Suryavama Ganesh. Today I will be presenting a demo lecture on supply chain management and logistics. And second point is PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. Okay, what is meant by supply chain management? Supply chain management का मतलब क्या है? Definition क्या है? SCM is an end-to-end coordination of information, material, finances from suppliers to customers. So this is the brief definition of supply chain management. Supply chain management is an end-to-end coordination of materials, information, finance from suppliers to customers. So here is supplier, manufacturer and wholesaler, retailer and finally customer. And when it comes to this logistics is a subset of this SCM. Logistics includes movement, storage and distribution. Movement, storage and distribution. So raw material supply by the suppliers, the material comes to the manufacturing point, then it has been converted into finished products and thereby it is going to wholesaler, retailer and reach final customer. So this section is called logistics. Okay, next, what are the key components? What are the key components of SCM? First one is planning and second one is sourcing and third one is production and fourth one is logistics. Okay, so these are the components and first one is planning of what? Demand forecasting and inventory control. And sourcing is nothing but raw material suppliers, that means selection of suppliers and procurement of raw material. Selection, raw material supply, raw material selection and selection of supplier also and procurement of raw material. And production means manufacturing. Okay, manufacturing process. Logistics means once the product has been produced and they are ready to move from the godown or some manufacturing place to wholesaler. In between, logistics are nothing but warehousing, inventory and movement of that product and storage. These are all comes under this logistics. And finally, returns. Returns of what? If at all any products damaged or any products to be repaired or any products to be refurbishment or redecorating, then products in this direction went to the manufacturing place. So the reverse logistics, this is called as reverse logistics. So these are the 5 important components of SCM. Clear? According to Fisher, he given 4 types of SCM. Supply chain management. Supply chains are of 4 types. Fisher's model, 4 types. First one is efficient supply chain. Second one is risk hedging. And third one is responsive. And Fourth one is agile, A-G-I-L, agile. So what are these four? These are four types of supply chains. First one is efficient. Efficient means here we can consider two concepts, demand and supply, because these are two majorly important things in any manufacturing or any production process. Okay, demand. If at all any demand, then the supplier brings the product into the market, and if demand decreases, supply will also decreases. So price will decide by these two factors. Already in economics there are diagrams like demand curve is from left to right down, and supply curve is from left to right up. And price fixation is when demand and supply are where it can demand curve DD and supply are meeting each other, then price will be decided. This is economic concept. So demand and supply, these two concepts are also major role in SCM. So here efficient means demand and supply, or supply and demand are stable. Stable means certain. So there is no immediate change in supply rather than demand. Example, toothpaste. Toothpaste product examples are here, and the demand supply, how it is. And when demand is certain, that means demand is certain. Demand, we know the exact demand, but supply we cannot predict, because supply we cannot procure the raw material within the time. So there is a price hike or something, disturbance or market disturbance is also comes under at this juncture. Because example, semiconductors. Semiconductors is the best example for risk hedging, because risky supply means supplier cannot able to bring the raw material into the scene, or he cannot supply the product raw material within the time to the manufacturer. So this is the example, and this is example of semiconductors. And third one is response. Response means it's also proactive. Whenever the risk comes, then we can give the response. Okay. Here demand is not certain. That means demand is uncertain, and supply is stable. Supply is stable. Demand is uncertain because how much quantity is demanded from the customer side, we cannot assume, we cannot predict. Example, fashion, clothes or anything, fashions, especially fashions. And finally, agile. Agile means both demand and supply are uncertain. Both demand and supply are uncertain. So at this juncture, example, technology, new technology, and other things like luxuries. These are two best examples for agile type of supply chain management. So when comes to the logistics is concerned, two types of logistics. Logistics is nothing but the movement of the product from the manufacturing point to the usage point, that is customer point. There are middlemen like wholesalers, C&F, distributors, retailers, dealers. So many people are, so many layers are within from manufacturing point to the customer point. So safety and securely the product should be reached within the time, with no time gaps, and the product should be reached to the customer at right time. So this is logistics objective. So logistics are inbound logistics and outbound logistics. Inbound logistics is nothing but the raw material brings to the organization or manufacturing place, manufacturing from suppliers. Suppliers supply raw materials. Raw material comes to the organization or company or manufacturing unit. And outbound means finished goods travel, finished goods transportation to various points like wholesalers, distributors, dealers, retailers, and finally customers. So these are the two types of logistics. And now the second point, that is what I want to bring this point, because it enhances PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. It enhances, or it brings a rapid change or mega development in the Indian economy. Why? I am explaining briefly. If a builder builds a house, before stepping to the house, he put all important facilities like electricity, plumbing, flooring, colors, and everything. But when comes to any public property design or public roads or buildings or ports, this is not is followed up to 2021. Our beloved Prime Minister Mr. PM Modi started this PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, which integrated 16 ministries. 16 ministries in its digital coordination. They are digitally connected for any project. There are sectors like seaways, that is seaways, airways, roads. Next, railways and digital. These 5 sectors are coordinated and connected. It's a model, connectivity model. PM Gati Shakti is a connectivity model which brings all these 16 ministries on one single platform, and they are sharing the information. They are taking decisions on how we can reduce the cost of infrastructure building. Infrastructure is the initiativeness. Initiative infrastructure facilities are bringing the economic growth to rapidly exponential growth will be possible if we are giving infrastructure facilities to the companies or projects. So infrastructure means roads, railway, airways, ports, etc. For example, if a port and railway are to be planned, both are, if individually planned, there is no uses, there is no that much of mileage or that much of inputs we can get from these two projects. If the port and railway projects are being coordinated and cargo transport very easily, so if simultaneously building the same ports. Recently, 2 days before, in Mizoram also, the 51-kilometer railway lane is connected to port. This port directly connected to the Myanmar border, our country Myanmar borders. So from that Myanmar borders ship seaways, we can bring those products to the Indian soil, like Assam. So many. There are 3 trains are also connected to this Mizoram. One from Delhi, one from New Delhi, one from Kolkata, and one from another place. At this time, I don't recall it. Anyway, this Gati means speed, Shakti means power. So infrastructure initiativeness should be speed up, and it will definitely enhance the supply chain and logistics. So that's why I'm choosing this topic, connecting to that chain management. And this objectives of Gati Shakti is to reduce 13% cost of infrastructure to 8%. Okay. green logistics. Green logistics means less cost, more useful. The resources will be sustainable. Resources will be used very optimally, so that overall overhead costs will be decreased. Okay, so many advantages of comes under this Gati Shakti transport. So finally, I conclude. Before I conclude, just summarize my lectures. 2 points, that is supply chain management and logistics and PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. So supply chain management enhances the products from supplier to the ultimate customers. Both logistics is also involving in this warehousing or storage, movement and distribution to products. And this topic, Gati Shakti National Scheme, it's not a scheme, it's a plan, or it's a game changer also. So this recently I knew that this on this name Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya also in Baroda. Okay, why, how we are connected to these two topics? Because it give more competence when we are examining the supply chain management globally also. So this is my topic, and thank you for kind attention. Namaste.